Hey Flosstube, welcome to Creative Woman Studio. Guess what time it is? It's finally time for a new release. It's so funny. I said to Kyle yesterday, I said, all right, the books are ordered. We're just waiting on that. And then it's going to get really crazy busy. And he goes, I knew something was about to happen because it's been quiet for a while. Because he knows, you know, every couple of months, 2 to 3 months, I try to have a new release. So he kind of saw it coming. And I had mentioned it to him before, but I think he forgot. Anyways, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to share with you the things that I've been working on. So this is how it's going to go. I had planned on doing like a really large release originally, but I ran out of time. I do not have time. I have a friend coming in from out of town. We are going to Missouri to visit family. In the mix of all that, there's just no way I could get a giant release done. So I split it into two. I'm going to do a release now in August that is like every day. There's no like theme as far as a holiday theme or a seasonal theme. And then in September, it'll probably be mid to late September, I'm going to do another release, and that will be the Hello Autumn book, Harvest Friends, and some other seasonal things and everyday things all mixed in there. So that release might be actually a little bit bigger than the release I'm doing now. But I think it's easier, well, it's definitely easier for me. It's easier for Kyle to get all the shipping done. It's easier for the shops to have things spaced out a little bit instead of just these giant releases. So I think splitting it into two pieces or two sections is best. Also, I just want to let you know that I am not doing the Needlework Marketplace online show. I mentioned in one of my prior videos why I'm not doing that show. I love to support the industry and I say yes to everything. I usually do. But I have found that in order to keep my sanity, I have to say no to some things. And I've turned down trunk shows. I've turned down invitations to be guest designer at retreats. And it's very difficult for me to say no. But I have to, or I'm just going to work myself into the grave. So when Janice of Noteworthy Needle said she wasn't doing Needlework Expo, she's done that for the past 2 or 3 years, I think. Is it 2 or 3? Anyways, she said she wasn't doing it this year, and I actually kind of breathed a sigh of relief because I was like, oh my gosh, that helps me out because I can do my releases when I want and when it works around my schedule, because I do have a retreat coming up in September as well that I'm prepping for, and I got to get the kits done. And so it's just really chaotic, and to fit in the Needlework Marketplace online show, I couldn't fit it into my schedule. So that's that. By the time you see this video, all of the shops will have all of the information and they will be able to take pre-orders. The books are ordered. We're just waiting for them now to come in. So I would say, and I can't give you an exact date because, you know, they give me an estimated ship date and then it's usually 2 days after they ship it that I get it. However, that is an estimated ship date and sometimes that changes. So I can't say exactly, but I would say within a week and a half, we should be shipping all the orders that come in. Okay, so let's get started with the good stuff. I have 1 punch needle. I have 2 booklets that contain, you know, more than one design. And then I have 2 just individual cross stitch patterns. So let's start with punch needle. So here is my newest punch needle. It is called Hummingbird. I'm sorry, I'm seeing some dust on this heart. I've had this heart for a long time. and it shows my love of working and doing all things creative rather than doing housekeeping and work. But anyway, or housework. So this is Hummingbird. You saw me work on this. I've shown it on my floss tubes, but it is now fully finished. And I think it turned out really cute. It's funny because I did this sketch. I'm doing the Whimsy 365 challenge again. It's just a challenge within my own self. It's not like out there in the world. But it's something I did, I think in 2016 was the last time I did it. Anyways, so I'm sketching one sketch a day for 365 days, all of 2023. And this was in that, in my sketchbook. And I just wanted a funky bird, and I didn't even think of it looking like a hummingbird. And when I was working on it at the Primitive Gatherings retreat last month, someone said, "Oh, it's a hummingbird." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is." It looks like a hummingbird. So I'm like, well, that helps me to name this. So it's named Hummingbird. This heart is something from Schneemann. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but there was Schneemann Tinware, and I got to know them back in the day of doing the markets with Primitive Folk. And it was a husband-wife team, and they made lighting and all kinds of tinware for early American homes and that kind of thing. Well, his mother makes amazing primitive cloth items. I love her work. And we have a lot of the Schneemann work in our home too, the tinware. So let me just give you the details on this. This was punched with 2 strands of Valdani pearl cotton, number 12, using the Smart Punch at the setting number 1. It measures 5.5 by 4 3/4 inches. And I finished it on a board that I bought while antiquing years ago. And then I trimmed it with Mingo. And I couldn't figure out why she was calling it Mingo, but it's Flamingo because it's pink. Anyways, Mingo Rick Rack by Lady Dot Creates. And I couldn't, when I bought this wood piece, I'm like, that thing is so grungy and such an awkward color. I just really never thought I would use it for anything, but it matched the hues in this punch needle perfectly. So I was really happy with how that turned out. Next we have Sewing Tomato. So this is Stitchy Bird series number 2. So my last release had Stitchy Bird number 1, and it was like a yellow bird. Anyway, these are cute and small and quick stitches, and I just think it's perfect timing because this is the season when everyone's gardens are just full of ripe tomatoes, and Kathy Lounsbury just did a video showing all her sewing tomatoes, and it's just like perfect timing. So this stitch count is 90 by 66, stitched 1/2 on 40 count Thornfield by Needle and Flax. It was stitched by Daisy Tolson, finished on a tiny like little tobacco basket that I got at Hobby Lobby. And then I used just some things. I was looking all over my studio for things to embellish this with. And the first thing I found was this little tomato. This little tomato I got as a gift at the Farm Girl Gatherings, and I cannot remember who gave it to me, so my apologies for that. And then this little strawberry is actually an antique that I bought antiquing. I think that was when I was coming back from the Quilter Station retreat. I went to a really great antique store, and then I just hot glued some antique buttons down at the bottom. So it kind of created a little shelf for me to put some things on, and I just think it turned out really cute. It'll be easy to hang too with those holes in the back. I love it. Thank you, Daisy. It's very cute. Oh yeah, and this is all full cross stitches. I want to make sure to say that. Oh, I don't know if it's all DMC. I'm pretty sure it's not. But I give the DMC equivalent, in all of my charts. So if you want to do all DMC, you can, but I'm pretty sure that there's some classic color works and maybe even some weeks in there. I forgot to look, sorry. Next we have Fall from Grace, and this has been on my radar for so long that I'm so happy to finally have it done. I wanted to show you the sketch in my sketchbook. And I don't know if you can see the date, but I did this. This is my dad's birthday. It made me tear up a bit this morning when I realized it was my dad's birthday. But this was in 2010 that I sketched this. This sketchbook happens to be full of early American folk art style sketches. So take a good look at that, and you'll be able to see the changes that I made in it. But I've always wanted to do an Adam and Eve one, and I didn't know what to title it, but Fall from Grace I think is the perfect title, because they were in God's grace before the serpent, the evil one, tricked them. So you can see that I had the Adam and Eve is the same, the tree is the same. I did take out some leaves. I wanted to make it a little simpler to stitch, and then the snake is the same, the border is the same, but I added flowers because on the sketch covering their privates was like a bunch of different leaves, and I thought, ooh, that's going to be hard to stitch and it might not turn out well. So I added some cool funky flowers and then used the leaves to cover them. And I love that she's reaching for an apple, and then Adam took a bite of that other apple and then he's dropping it to the ground. Oh, I just love that movement in there. I think that really adds a lot. And I love how he's like looking at her like, what did you make me do? And then that snake with his yucky tongue coming out. But I love the colors in this piece. And you guys, check out the frame. Is that not an amazing frame? It's just perfect. Donna picked this up for me at Craft Gallery, and you know, she made the comment that these kind of resemble apples. They're kind of in the shape of apples. And I just love how this turned out. Can you hear my dog snoring? She's such a stinker. I might have to turn my camera because the glare is just really a bummer. Okay, let me give you the details on this. The stitch count is 137 by 136. Stitch 1/2 on 36 count, Old Top Hat by Dames of the Needle. Stitched by Nicole Dunn and framed by Paul at the Craft Gallery in Findlay, Ohio. These are all full crosses except for 2 fractional stitches in the snake's eye. So I don't know if I can get close enough for you to see that, but in order to get his eye to look right, I had to add a couple fractional stitches. I looked for black fabric for the longest time. And I ordered black fabric from a few different places, different resources and dyers. And they all had, to me, a blue tint to them. And I just did not want that. I wanted just black, black, black. And I'm trying to remember how I found out about Old Top Hat, not to mention the name is super cool, from Elizabeth at Dames of the Needle. Somehow I found out about her fabric. I must have saw it online. I don't know. But she was just getting back from vacation, and I asked her if I could get a whole yard of it because I'm like, I want it black. And she's like, I can do it, girl. So I have a lot of this fabric. It's 36 count. God bless you, Nicole. Thank you for stitching on black for me, but I absolutely love it. I have another piece that's out being stitched right now that's on black. I love things stitched on black. I think that everything just pops, but I know it's difficult to stitch on. But I think this piece would be great too on a really rich, like sandy brown sampler color. Just, you got to make it dark enough so that their skin tone pops. So there you go. So next we have the Seaworthy booklet. and that will contain all 3 designs that I designed for Stitch West last October. So Stitch West is out in Utah, and it is hosted by Deb and Kef of Snug Harbor Crafts. Such an amazing retreat. My dog's snoring. I am so sorry. It's making me giggle. I wish so badly that I was going back to that retreat this year. Oh, I really do. And I won't be going out there next year either, because I'm already going out for retreats. One in Arizona and one in Oregon. So maybe in 2025 I will make it back to Stitch West. But okay, so let's get started. In that booklet though, I talk about the story. So when I was at the retreat and I was showing them their exclusives, I had a story about all 3 of the mermaids. I'm not going to share that with you here, but it is in the booklet, so just wanted to let you know that. So first we have Mermaid. There we go. This one, stitch count is 39 by 56. Stitched 1/2 on 40 count Nor'easter by LFA Linens, Legacy Fiber Arts. Stitched by myself. And I framed it in a frame from Hobby Lobby, and then I used Rainy Mini Pom Pom by Lady Dot Creates. This is all full cross stitches. It fits so perfectly in this. You know, it's funny because I wanted it to be like a key fob. I say that all the time. I'm so sorry. A scissor fob, but it just turned out too big. I mean, you'd have to stitch it on like 56 count to make it a scissor fob or a zipper pull. You'd have to really shrink it down. But so that is one of them. The title of this piece is Mermaid. Next we have Under the Sea. Oopsie. Okay, so this one, the stitch count is 110 by 110. Stitched 1/2 on 40 count Nor'easter by LFA Linens. Stitched by Jan Emmerich. And then I finished this on a wood piece from Joanne Fabrics. Now this piece was unfinished wood, and I liked it because it had the like shiplap look to it. And then I just painted this part, the outer part, one color, and then painted the inner part another color, and then just sanded it to make it kind of look worn and weathered. Then I also used Rainy Mini Pom Pom by Lady Dot Creates to go around the piece. And what else? This is all full cross stitches. I love that mermaid. I think she's hilarious how she's just staring down that little seahorse. And then last but not least, we have the Seaworthy Sampler. If you watch Snug Harbor Crafts, you have watched Deb. She's been stitching this, and I know that Pam of Just Keep Stitching, she has been stitching on this as well. Okay, so this stitch count is 200 by 113. Stitched 1/2 on 40 count Nor'easter by LFA Linens. Stitched by Karen Simmons and framed by Paula at the Craft Gallery in Findlay, Ohio. This is all full cross stitches except for the sailor's hair, which is 2 fractional stitches. So let's find him. Where is that guy? So here he is, and you can see on his hair, there's a couple fractional stitches. These are birds. I know there was some confusion. They thought they were seals at first, but no, they are funky little birds. I like funky birds. I love the crabby whales. I think they're hilarious. I love all the different fish. That octopus just kills me. Love it so much. And you know, who doesn't need a quilted sail on their sailboat, right? And the little mermaid with her trident, and then the bird pulling the flag. I love that. Cute little touch. And I love the frame that we chose. It looks like weathered wood that you would see like on the shores of the ocean. Of the sea, not the ocean, the sea. Seaworthy sampler. So there you go. And then my last release is called Dwelling Place. And it is a booklet with 4 designs in it. It also features watercolor artwork from a fabric line from 2023. I forgot to mention also in the Seaworthy booklet, as you know, if you have purchased one of my books recently, I have been adding in my watercolor artwork wherever it works or fits with a theme. And I've really enjoyed doing that. I think it makes the books so pretty, and it just adds an extra oomph, I think, you know, to the value of the book too. But anyways, the one in the Seaworthy book, that booklet has a fabric line from 2004. You can't say it like that. I guess 2004. Then in the Dwelling Place book, the artwork is from a fabric line in 2003. Okay, so, you know, my intention, well, hold on. I'm going to have to back up because I'm going to start with the smaller things first, and then I'll talk about the sampler. Okay, so the first thing up is this super sweet and adorable Biscornu. I just love this so much. Okay, I have a lot to say about this little guy. Let me show you the good side first. So I'm going to hold it like this so that you are looking at the good side right there while I talk about it, okay? So this little Biscornu measure, or the stitch count, is 68 by 68. It was stitched 1/2 on 36 count Bramble by Picture This Plus. Stitched by Phyllis Lundy and finished by me. So this was my first time finishing a Biscornu. And that whole time that was out of focus, and I apologize. So, you know, when you know how it is when someone has done something a lot of times or for a long time and they are skilled at it, and it's like second nature to them. Well, that's how Donna Fidowa makes it look when she finishes a Biscornu. When I finished this Biscornu, I thought I was going to lose it. I just had a hard time. It was my first time making one. It's not my first time designing, as you know, but it is my first time making one. So everything doesn't line up like it's supposed to, and all of my lines don't look so great. But, you know, it's my first one, and I'm just proud of myself for actually finishing it, because there were times I wanted to give up. I thought, well, there's other smalls for this booklet. Do I really need the Biscornu? And I'm like, yes, you keep going, girl. You keep going and you persevere, like I have always in my business. If I didn't persevere, I probably wouldn't have my own business. So there's a little flower in the bottom. That all of these little elements in this Biscornu were taken from the Dwelling Place sampler, which you will see here momentarily. But I think it turned out so cute, and I love the size. It's teeny tiny. So cute. Next we have, oh, I love this one. The Dwelling Place pillow. This is the large pillow. I'll give you all the details on this. Let me just turn this a little bit, because I keep hitting my leg on the table. Alrighty. Stitch count 153 by 105, stitched 1/2 on 40 count Boston Tea Party by LFA Linens. This fabric is fabulous. I love that color. This was stitched by Colleen Holt of Stitching with the Sisterlies, and then I finished it into a pillow, and I used Licorice Chenille by Lady Dot Creates. And I just used homespun on the back, and I love this pillow. It's fairly big. It's about as big as I would ever want to make a pillow, but I love it. I love those birds. I love the fabric choice. That bouquet is to die for. And so again, this bouquet and these birds, they are actually from the dwelling place sampler, and then I took an element out and just created this border to go around it. But I love this. I think it's turned out really nice. I'm getting better at pillows, I have to say. They're not Profillos yet, but I'm working towards it. And the two that I made for dwelling place were well, this one turned out the best. The other one, I cut one side a little bit short. Here I am telling all my secrets on myself. Okay, so the next one we have is dwelling place pillow, small pillow. There we go. So this stitch count is 72 by 50. Stitched 1/2 on 40 count Boston Tea Party by LFA Linens. This was stitched by Colleen's daughter, Cole Buck. Finished by me using the Storm Blue Rickrack by Lady Dot Creates. And I watched Annie, the proper stitcher, how to put the rickrack on, and then you kind of squish it so it sticks out. I don't know how to meet it at the bottom. If I hold it here, you'll never know how bad it looks at the bottom. But it turned out cute. I love it. So you'll see in the sampler, it doesn't say home. In the sampler, it says our dwelling place, and it's got the date that Kevin and I moved into our home. But I wanted to change it so that your pillow would just say home on it. I also forgot to mention that to learn how to sew the chenille on this pillow, I watched Lindy Stitches, Stephanie Webb. She has a video showing how to do that. And last but not least, the dwelling place sampler. I love this sampler so much. I can't wait to tell you all about it. Let me hold it maybe a different way while I talk about it. When I first started designing this sampler, I started with the border, and see all the stars? Well, it was going to be an Americana, patriotic sampler. But the more I worked on it, the more I just wanted it to be about home, which, I live in the United States of America, so that is my home. So it really worked. Our dwelling place worked because my home is in the United States of America. But I didn't put any patriotic symbols in there, such as a flag or anything like that. I just kept with the same color palette that I had planned on using for a patriotic sampler, which means there's no green in it. There's a color that looks like a green. I think it's 3024 or something like that. It resembles kind of a green color. So, whoa, here at the bottom, can you see all the animals in that blue? I was very leery about having them in the blue because I thought, God, they look like they're in the water, and these are not animals that would normally be hanging out in the water. So I happened to be doing a live stream in Patreon, and I asked my whimsies, what do you think? Should I keep it blue, or should I make it this other color that kind of has, kind of a green? I'll show it to you. Let me show you right here. It kind of has a green tint to it. I could have changed it to that, which if you buy this and you don't like the blue, you could change it to that color. But I really wanted this to just scream kind of red, white, and blue, okay? And they said, oh my gosh, keep it because it's something different. So the funny part is, when I got this back from the model stitcher and Kevin was looking at it, the first thing he said when he saw this is he goes, oh, is that Kentucky bluegrass? And I'm like, why, yes, it is. And then I proceeded to tell him the story. I said, well, thank you, Kevin, for giving me that idea. So this is Kentucky bluegrass down here. This is a heavy sampler. I'm having a really hard time showing this to you and talking about it. Wish I had an assistant, but I don't. Okay, let me see, what else can I tell you about this? Okay, so this stitch count is 284 by 318. Stitch 1/2 on 40 count Dunes at Dusk by LFA Linens, stitched by Kathy Lounsbury and framed by Paula at the Craft Gallery. So I'm just gonna zoom in and give you a close shot of the entire piece. I love all the different funky birds in this one. I like the house. I wanted the house to be something different than I've really ever seen. Oh goodness. So these trees here, those were actually inspired by something I saw in an antique sampler. And I thought they were so cool for trees. I love this tall, so I don't know if you noticed, but this is part of the biscornu. And then like this part right here was the border going around that large pillow. So I have our dwelling place 2001. That's when we moved into our home. You know, you could make it, and I give you all the numbers, so you can put any numbers you want, and you could, you know, do like your wedding date, you could do when you moved into your home. If you moved here from another country, you could put in the date that you know, became a US citizen. I mean, there's different things that you can do with that. That deer also resembles something I saw in an antique sampler. And then, oh, that flower pot right there. That would be a great pillow as well. And then I think the most fun part, other than those fun birds, are all the animals. We have a squirrel and a deer. I gotta look at it. A duck, a rabbit, 3 sheep, another bird. There's a cat. There's a fox. There's a squirrel in like a tree, like in a little bush. A turkey, a rooster, and another bird. I just think that animals are so fun, and I like how they're kind of, some of them are kind of ghosty and hard to see in there, but I like that. I think it's cool. So yeah, lots of animals, a house, birds, flowers, an amazing border. What more could you want? Oh, and an alphabet. What more could you want in a sampler? So that's it, guys. Those are my new releases. I hope that you like them. And I, again, just whatever you're wanting, just get a hold of your LNS for pre-ordering. And like I said, they will be shipping in about a week to a week and a half, depending on when I upload this video and depending on when I get word as to when the books will arrive. So yeah, so I'm super excited about this release. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find lots of stitching time. I've been struggling with that, but that's because of all the things I've been working on. You know, and I'm just going to continue to work hard towards my September release. And then I have the September retreat at Primitive Gatherings. I have a vacation in there. Kristen's coming into town for like 5 days. So the next month and a half is going to be an absolute zoo for me. But evidently it's how I like it, because it's always that way for me. So anyways, thanks again for watching, and don't forget, create every day. Bye.